Dear gracious Heavenly Father, God, we thank you so much, Lord, for this and another day, Lord, that you've given us, God. Thank you so much, Lord, for all your wonderful blessings, Lord, that you bestowed upon us today. Lord, we come to you now asking that you bless this meeting, Lord, bless each individual that's here, Lord. We ask that you bless this city as we continue to grow. We ask all these things in your dear gracious heavenly name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's September 20th, regular meeting of the Corbin City Commission with a roll call, please.
Moore. Here. Reeves.
Here.
Knuckles.
Here.
Shepherd.
Here.
Rasmus.
Here. All right. First on the agenda is to approve the August bills for payment.
Make a motion to approve the bills.
A second. Moore. Yes. Reeves.
Yes.
Knuckles.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes. Approve the minutes from the August 16th regular meeting.
Make a motion.
Second.
Reeves.
Yes.
Knuckles.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Rasmus.
Yes. All right, we've got a couple of people that I'm going to let come before the board before we continue with our agenda items. First is Brandon Mulholland. Didn't want to waste your time.
Okay, that's fine, I appreciate it. First of all, this is my first city council meeting. I think it's pretty cool that you guys open it with a prayer and with the pledge of allegiance, so thank you. So I have a piece of property here in town, and for about 2 years I've been going down a path originally to try to get an address for this property, which I still honestly do not have an address, which I'm working at, but in talking with Mr. Benfield at Code Enforcement a couple months ago, he had mentioned that in the past, certain right-of-ways that the city has had, that they've basically gotten rid of the right-of-ways and split them up to residents that their property adjoins a right-of-way. So the piece of property I have does back into a right-of-way that, from my own research, has been a city right-of-way for probably over 100 years, and it's never been used for anything. I've gone to city engineering. There's no utilities that run from it or through it, and it's basically not used. But you guys maintain it, so by cutting the grass. So I guess what I'm asking is to look into splitting, if the city in fact does not need that right of way, is to split it up and give it to the residents that their property backs up to the right of way. And I can give whoever needs the details of
Where is the
where it's
property?
at.
Where is the property?
The property, that's a good question. The property sits in between Beatty Avenue and College Street off of an alley that has no name. So the address for city tax purposes, the address that I got from the tax office was 0 Beatty Avenue, which 0 Beatty Avenue doesn't exist. So, but that's the best that we do for the property. And the alleyway, from looking at all the city maps I can find, does not have a name besides an alleyway.
So this is like one of those situations like the way Meadow Lane used to go down to 8th Street and then that.
Yeah, what you're gonna find is probably a plat of that subdivision.
Now, historically, I mean, I've got a survey that if you go to the deed office my property sits off of Whitley Avenue. If you go back 100 years, the alley was Whitley Avenue. So at some point in time, Whitley Avenue changed from North Corbin. There is a Whitley Avenue on the south end of town that has nothing to do with the old Whitley Avenue. And the right of way, if you go back into maps 100 years, like Alan Benfield, his map is 1930, and it doesn't even show the right of way, but it was supposed to be Knox Street originally, that never got constructed when the town was actually, I don't want to say built, but, you know.
Okay, so Mr. Benefield has resigned, so now we're without a code enforcement officer. So we are, obviously, this is gonna take a little bit of research.
Sure.
So if, Marlon, how do you wanna proceed?
You'll need to go look at it, and then we'll have to make sure that it's city owned. Then if it is, if it's not, then you'll have to, like everybody else said, if it's a city alley, it's easier. If you start talking about right of ways, that's a whole different ballgame. And it may be, is it an alley or a right of way?
The alley's a paved road. The right of way is a grass,
That's just something like.
just a big grass strip that runs between Engineer Street and Master Street.
What we normally done in the past is that the city, if they have if it's no benefit to the city, then if it's not a road, just a right of way, you have to talk to all the neighbors, make sure everybody's in agreement, they have to sign off on it, and the private attorney would do deeds and stuff like that, with land deeds. But you have to look, the first step is get Mark to go look at it.
Okay, that's fine.
You have the phone number to reach out?
Sure, I'll get with you offline. Yep.
Thank you.
And then I've got another question, but I can talk to you personally offline. So, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, next up is Mark Snyder with the investment pool advisor with PNC, speaking on behalf of KLC for the money market information.
And this is the money on the American Rescue Plan we had talked about last night.
Does anybody have a Kleenex? Sorry, my nose is ridiculous. Thank you, I apologize. I'm not gonna make it very long. Goldenrod is here. I apologize. You could go ahead and start. I think Marlon knows all this, but he'll be right back otherwise.
All right, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you again. My name is Mark Snyder, and I'm with PNC Institutional Asset Management, and we work with and partner with the Kentucky League of Cities. And we've established an investment program when the law was changed in July of 2019 to allow cities like you to have more flexibility to develop a portfolio to manage reserve funds or any funds that you have as a kind of a complement to what you currently do with your CDs, money market funds, and that type of thing. And so we have established this program, and it really provides the city managers and folks with a lot of options in order to invest funds as you need. You have a lot of flexibility to create as many accounts as you like. There's no charge to get into the program. There's no charge to move money back and forth. We always maintain liquidity, and so the longest it would take to get money back would be 3 days. And so there's options, and you're somewhat restricted within the law of what you can invest in. But it really allows cities to kind of take a step further to look. Right now, we're in, obviously, as you all know, a historic low interest rate environment. The Fed has set the short-term rate, Fed funds rate at basically zero, and we anticipate that'll remain in place till sometime in 2023. And so all investors are searching for yield. And so either you're going out further on the yield curve or taking on a little more risk and what have you. And so within the law, you're now able to invest some of your money in stocks and high-quality corporate bonds. In the corporate bonds, there's restrictions. They have to be A-rated or better, and maturity of less than 10 years. So you can't just go out and buy a bond mutual fund, so we've created a pool that you can invest in along with other cities. So we currently have just over $50 million in the program. We've got about 23 cities across the state currently invested in that program. Now we're having conversations with other cities just like you right now. So, it's my understanding that you had some questions regarding the program and the pools or how it worked, and I'm here to answer any question you may have.
This is a bad day to be talking about investing in stock.
It's a buying opportunity.
Yeah.
It's a buying opportunity.
So what's been the average return for cities that you all, in Kentucky right now?
I'm sorry, the average what?
Return so far on this money for cities that you represent?
Well, I have a handout, I guess, if you'd like, but basically from, inception to date, again, it depends. So the S&P 500, has been up, 22.25% since it started in July of 19. The dividend focused equity fund has been up, over 14%. The fixed income funds, the government fund right at 1.9%, and the corporate bond fund started about a year later once we got enough capital to be able to diversify a portfolio, and that's about 55 basis points. And so it's been, up and down. Every city who has joined the program and had a fully diversified portfolio has had success. Even and you'll see in the March of 2020 in the downturn, and it's come back up. Who would have thought in 2020 that the S&P would have done what it has done? But that's kind of where investors are looking for more options, and it's really kind of a trade-off. And so I think diversification is key, and the time horizon that you want invested is key. And so you can establish those kind of programs to meet your needs. You could take one of those. I don't know, hopefully that answers your question, but it's all over the map, really. There's no right or wrong. You can create an account. What a lot of cities have done is really look at their reserve funds and say, we have some money that we're not gonna spend for 2-3 years plus. That's the money that they've moved into the program and invested more into a balanced, what I would consider a balanced portfolio. 50-50, equity to fixed income, even, 65-35, that type of thing. So it's really, every city's different. It's really just what your comfort level is, what you're trying to accomplish. Some cities open up a couple different funds. They open up a reserve fund, which is kind of on the third page there. I've just given you some sample structures. Just to protect. So hypothetically, if you had $500,000 as an example, these are our reserve funds. But we may need to dip into $250,000 in a couple years. So some cities kind of set that up as a reserve fund, invest that a little more conservatively, and then the other $250,000 where he's like, well, I really can't foresee a reason we would need to dip into that. That's more of your long-term investment where you take more of an aggressive approach to it, so to speak, of like an endowment fund. It would be 65 to 35% equity to fixed income, that type of thing. Where you're going to get your growth over time is in the equity market. You can only invest in companies that are included in the S&P 500, so it's large cap U.S. domestic companies on that global exposure. But so that's it in regards to the equity fund. We also have a dividend focused fund, which is a separate pool that it's about a 64 stock portfolio. And these are companies that are in the S&P 500, but they pay a higher dividend, growing their dividend faster, to give you more income stream. So a lot of cities have, like an example I showed there, basically 50-50 allocation would be 25% in each pool. These are unitized pools that are valued daily, so you can buy in and buy out just like a mutual fund. You can have online access to the accounts. You can change your allocation at any time. So you have a lot of flexibility to do whatever you need to do as kind of a complement to your cash.
So if we decided to do something like this, we would need to start with this ordinance that we were talking about passing today.
Sorry, Barb.
That's for the refinance, that's not what we're talking
That's
about.
That's nothing to do with this. This is like getting.
No wonder. Okay, So what we could do is, everything that we've been putting those CDs that we've had for years after years after years, that we've got about, that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Okay, is that we could invest it rather than just putting it into CDs.
But you need to find out what you're investing in.
Well, of course, yeah,
So that's why I think you need to study this stuff.
yeah.
If you have an interest, maybe divide it back down to put it together.
I do like the idea of an endowment,
About what?
of an endowment. I like the idea of that.
And you have a lot of flexibility in that regard too. You can set up a spending policy if you need the money, you know, in a pour-off, just like at any higher education institution, it's the exact same thing. They would establish an endowment, invest in say 70 in equities, 30% fixed income, and say, we're gonna take 4% a year, as an example. And we're gonna put it right into our operating budget. And you set your own distribution rate.
Do what?
That's got some legal issues.
It does?
Yeah, you can get money out. You're not allowed to, under the Constitution.
I didn't hear that question.
He's talking about an endowment, he's saying we can't do an endowment.
We can't give money out.
We can't give money.
Well, it's not a gift, it's just a structure, I guess, it's in a term, but basically you would be setting up a portfolio that you're allowed within House Bill 69, investing it in equities and fixed income. It's the same portfolio that an endowment would be, you just don't call it an endowment,
I guess my
it
thought-
operates similar to
Well,
that.
an endowment is,
Yeah, my thought thought is that you create a fund like that, and then you have a specific purpose for which you use the proceeds. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, I mean, that's not an
So,
endowment.
It's not an endowment, but it has that type of structure.
It's the same kind of idea. You're right, it's not technically an endowment, but it's the way it works.
Correct.
I just live in a certain world.
The lawyer world, we're glad you live in it. Bob said he wasn't thinking today, so let's not get too deep.
No, I said, I didn't have much stuff in my
Okay,
brains.
got it.
I'm just
But
trying
you
to
see,
follow
if
up
we
on
had
it.
something, you know what I mean, that we were, a certain thing that we wanted to continually fund, you know what I mean? Then if you had that seed money that you really never tapped into in the process, that could be a really good thing, I like that idea.
Like, you can open up, separate, if you have a specific project down the road that you have funds for, you could open up an account for that and establish a specific asset allocation for that fund. You can open up a general fund, really whatever you need to, you know, invest the funds in a prudent manner, give you the flexibility, to really get some return on those funds over time. Like I said, I would stress diversification and time horizon are the key items.
How about we take this under advisement and we, maybe the budget subcommittee meets with Marlon and perhaps Scott, you could, Mark.
Scott.
Aren't you guys
Yeah.
just looking right now, though, about the relief money, the American Relief Plan money, just that for now? So that's just sitting there, we were looking, that's what you guys talked about last month, that's like what we're looking at right now. Because it's so limited on the things we can use it for, so it's just sitting there in a checking account right now. And it sounds like it might be a while before we're able to use it, so we wanted to, you guys wanted to try to look at somewhere to put that, so that's why he's really here, is that money.
Okay,
Not the CD that we
Well,
have.
but there's two issues, there's Guy, I know, I understand what you're saying, I know what you're talking about, but also, the deal with the CDs is we run into flexibility issues there sometimes, but we can't, if we need the money,
We do.
we can't cash the CDs without penalty, but here,
But
we
here
can
we
get
can,
access to.
so that's why I think we need to do this instead of,
So you're saying this is the good.
we'll get a subcommittee together with Scott and Mark.
Oh, I'm sorry, were we talking too much about it? My bad.
Yeah, the ARPA fund, cities are doing that, investing those funds in the program. I always recommend open up a separate account for the ARPA money, so you track it separately. But just like any other account, and every city is different in regards to how, the allocation that they're using. We can help you develop a specific asset allocation for whatever fund that you want to establish. And it really just gives you a lot of extra tools in the tool belt, so to speak, of options. When the CD matures or ARPA money happens, whenever, you have a dynamic portfolio that you can access in a very efficient way.
We have in the general fund, it's under a contingency fund right now, the way we have it listed. We will probably be getting another check come March or April also, so we'll have over $1 million Kelsey's talking, the federal government's still looking at ways this can be spent, so we can put it somewhere, hold it, and might draw a little bit more than what we got.
So then my next question is, if we decide we put this in and 6 months later we wanna draw some out, what kind of penalties are we looking at?
There's never a penalty.
That's
That's
the
great
beauty of it,
thing.
is that you can, it's
Yeah.
like 3 days, you can get the money, you don't have to.
Right.
We have a diversified portfolio, some of it we can access quickly, some of it,
You can
Maybe
al-
not
you can
so.
al- You can access all of it
right,
quickly, so to speak. The longest we would take was 3 days.
okay.
If we had to sell some securities in the equity market, as example, it was a 2-day settlement. But basically, you know, we set up the city of Corbin as a master within our program. We call us up, hey, we need $25,000, we're gonna send it right to your operating account, and you'll have it the next day.
I think that sounds great. I think we've been looking for a better return than what we've been getting, so.
I think, it gives you options, it gives you that ability to, really focus on the assets and the capital that you have. What are we trying to accomplish with this? Segregate some, maybe a longer bucket, a medium bucket, whatever. We can help you kick around ideas, whatever you're trying to accomplish from an investment perspective. But right now, yeah, I mean, you're losing money in real terms, I guess, and sitting in CDs and money markets earning nothing. So it just, if you're not planning to spend the money for a few years, it makes a lot of sense to diversify into some investments. And then you keep that earnings for the city.
We appreciate you coming down and talking with us about this.
No problem.
Anybody else have any questions for Mark? Thank you.
No problem, anytime. Let us know. We can help.
Okay, next on the agenda is the Childhood Cancer Awareness Month proclamation.
Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, September 2021. Whereas cancer is the leading cause of death by disease among U.S. children between infancy and age 19. This tragic disease has affected more than 15,780 of our country's young people each and every year. Whereas 1 in 5 of our nation's children loses his or her battle with cancer, and many infants, children, and teens will suffer from long-term effects of comprehensive treatment, including secondary cancer. Whereas the causes of childhood cancers are unknown and are not strongly linked to lifestyle or environmental risk factors, unlike many adult cancers. And childhood cancer occurs regularly and randomly and spares no ethnic group, socioeconomic class, or geographic region. And the childhood cancer rate is increasing at a greater rate than any other group, whereas it is believed that a public awareness campaign that informs citizens of childhood cancer could save lives. Therefore, the mayor of the city of Corbin, along with the board of commissioners, do hereby proclaim September 2021 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in the city of Corbin and urge all citizens to join us in this special observance. Proclaim this 20th day of September 2021.
Thank you very much, and this is in honor of Candace Keith. They had a great race last Saturday. I don't know how many participants they have, but quite a few. So she is definitely a jewel, and so we wanted to make sure that we got a proclamation for Candace. All right, so next is read the custom pumper truck bids.
We received 2 bids. The first one was from Southeast Apparatus. The bidder submitted a total proposal price of $465,750, and they estimate delivery to be within 12 to 15 months following the execution of the contract. We received another bid from Ferreira Fire Apparatus with America's Bravest Equipment Company. Their total proposal price was $474,526, and they estimate delivery will be within 6 months of execution. They also offered a 100% discount, or prepaid discount, of $14,509, and that makes the total with the discount $460,017.
What was the Southeast Apparatus bid again?
$465,750.
465,750.
Mayor, I met with the fire chief McDonald and the 3 battalion chiefs. We looked at an example of one that's done by the, I can't remember the name of it. America Bravest. And then we also looked at one, from Southeast. There is a discount in there. I did talk to the gentleman with Southeast. They can get it probably a little bit quicker than what they put on the quote. I know there is a price difference of about $5,000, but, the one from Southeast, the fire department, all the guys really liked how it was built. There were some things on the other one that they looked at changing. Where are you, Barry? Right here. Yeah. You have anything to say about that? That'd be my recommendation that we take Southeast.
It's local, and they've been trying to get a truck in the city for years, and I know they do a good job. And if we have anything go wrong, we're a mile away. So, the other one's in Louisiana.
The gentleman has an office in London, but if we had to send it off, something went wrong, like Barry said, we would have to send it to Louisiana.
I think it'd be in our best interest to go with Southeast, and it's a little bit more money, but it is a local company, they'll be able to service the truck here locally. You know, and it's just putting money back into our community. You know, nothing against the other company, but, you know, just saving $5,000, I think that would be, you know, not that great of a benefit considering everything else.
Mayor, Southeast also told us it wasn't in their bid, but they could do that discount also. Like the company said they could do, we paid 100% on it.
Okay, well, we can't take that into consideration.
The first thing we need to do is I need a motion to dispose of the pumper truck bids. To close the bids.
Said motion to close the bids. Second.
Knuckles? Shepherd?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes.
Mayor, before you go on, also, we've worked with some local banks to get some rates. Cumberland Valley is gonna give us a 2.81 fixed at 120 months. Fort Bank, 4.25% at 84 months. And Hometown Bank, 2.250 at 120 months. To finance this vehicle.
How far out are you wanting to go?
That'd be at y'all's discretion now. If we can do the Hometown Bank has the better rate, so. I think it's about $4,500, I think, what it was. Yes.
So 10 years,
Yes,
2.25.
2.250. $120 months.
Y'all wanna move forward?
Make a motion to close the bids. Second.
We already did that. I guess really the discussion that we're talking about here is, do we want more time or do we want better rate? That's what we're looking at, right? So you're saying that
Well,
you think
first, I think first you got to pick out which company you want to do the bid, then you go to the rate.
We're probably not gonna get any better rates anytime soon, so.
Well, you need to pick out which company's gonna buy it from first.
So we need to dispose of it or accept it?
we need to accept the bid from Southeast Separate.
There you go, you need that motion.
So I'll make a motion. Is there any more discussion or can I leave it?
Please do.
Okay. So I don't want to cut anybody off if they want to talk about it. I want to make a motion that we accept the bid for the pumper truck from Southeast Separate.
I second.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Knuckles?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes.
Now you can act on the finance.
Marlon's suggestion is Hometown Bank at 120 months at 2.25%, if anybody wants to make that into a motion.
I'll make a motion to
accept the Upton County Bank proposal.
Second.
Moore,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes. All right, guys, looks like you got a new fire truck. Eventually. All right, next on the agenda is to read the garbage cart bids. If everybody remembers last month, it came in with the wheels attached for quite a bit more money than what we had budgeted. So we resubmitted the bids. And we resubmitted 4 bids, and this is what we've got.
We received 4 bids for this project. The first one was from Best Equipment Company. Their price reflects the carts without wheels assembled. Delivery is not included in the total price. Delivery time is estimated between 2 weeks after receipt of order confirmation, and the brand of carts are Toter. These are Toter 96-gallon carts. They're a universal cart. The body color is dark gray and granite. For 3,500 carts at a price of $63.28 each, the subtotal is $221,480.
Was the first bid, did it have delivery? It had delivery.
The second bid received was from Municipal Equipment Company for 95-gallon carts from Auto. It's gray with a red hot foil stamp of the city logo. The total is $237,536.25. This total includes freight, but assembly is required.
Did we ever find out how much that one would be without the foil stamp on the top of it?
The third one received was from IPL, for 3,500 95-gallon carts at $54.50 per cart. The total cost is $190,750. The cost of freight is $4,700, and the subtotal is $195,450. The fourth bid received was from Rare Pacific Company. They gave a price per unit and did not give an overall cost, and because of this, they were disqualified from the process.
All in favor recommendation? Or well,
Let's get a motion to close the bids.
effort.
Motion to close the bids.
Second.
Reeves,
Yes.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Shepherd,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes.
I thought none of these include assembly, right? I'm a little bit confused. And so then did one of them include delivery, or is that just delivery here?
Just
Not to
just-
the customers?
Right.
Okay, that's one that I understood.
I think the bid that we got last time, the delivery was to the customers, and it was
Yeah.
like $270,000, so we asked
Or they were assembled already?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like 40 grand more. I think it was the second company that bid it the last time. So basically, it saves us like $30,000 to put them together and deliver them ourselves.
So how much is that gonna cost us?
More than that, I think, about 40.
Yeah.
I mean, is it worth it?
Do we even have the manpower to assemble all this?
Good question.
Yeah, what do we, do you know, or?
I don't really know. It's probably gonna be a pretty good job, that's 3,500 cans.
Yeah, I mean, that,
Definitely gonna probably need most of my part-time men, probably another month. Put it all together, probably.
so they were gonna, the previous bid, they were just gonna bring them assembled and deliver to everybody.
Yeah.
Where we gonna put 3,500 cans? It's like a ton of cans.
That's a good question also.
Like a football field or something? I don't know, that's a lot.
No, you do not have the arena.
We'll send them to the arena.
No, I already said no. I'm busy, I don't know if you got that. We're busy.
Put them on parking lots somewhere.
Maybe the arena 5 years.
Parking, good.
Yeah, they're exterior use.
Well, it's gonna take a long time to put it together.
How much was it? Was it 270? Do you remember, Marlon?
You can't go back on that other bid.
I'm just trying to remember.
Wish we could've just took another advisement.
Well, if somebody would have been at the meeting.
Well, that's a valid criticism, I'm sorry.
So all the bids are the same except for the price, right? One includes freight. That last one.
195.
The last one was a company out of Canada, and they did not give an overall price, they just gave us
About the top
a.
three, the third one, the next.
It was
IPL would be the one I recommend. They're out of Shelbyville, Kentucky. We would be closer if you needed more.
Is that 1, 2, or 3?
That's
Three.
Number 3, IPL.
It's also the
195, 450.
195 for.
Freight. Bring it down. Yeah.
That's actually quite a nice one. That's actually quite a bit less than last time. Because it was 270, this is 195. That's a big savings. That's a really big savings.
Well, we just all have to learn how to use wrenches.
I'll call
Say,
Coach
last month
Greer.
we all volunteered.
I'm sure he will not mind us leaving those at the football field.
No, I was talking to him, like, I might be able to help them out depending on the timeline of when they came and when they could get them out.
Put them in those workers. Yes. We didn't have, the garbage.
Like you said, it's like one of these 318 millimeters.
How, what?
That's 318 millimeters.
Well, could they stagger
Can they bring it in
delivery?
stages?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's a bigger bet.
I haven't talked to them.
Bring a truck out.
That's what I would think.
On their bid, it
Yeah.
says that it would be truckload quantities of 750 carts.
There you go.
Yeah.
Space it out?
Yeah.
I will talk to the company tomorrow about staging everything, see what we can do. I'll get with Jeff and then
Let's go
see.
forward.
Yeah, I think it's best to accept the recommendation of the city manager and go with the third bid from the company out of Shelbyville, $195,450 delivered. I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. It's a great savings from the bid that we got last month.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Shepherd,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes. All right, next on the agenda is to read the arena parking lot bids. So this is sealing and striping the parking lot at the arena.
And it's not, I'm not asking you guys for money either, in case anybody was, it's coming out of my grant money, so, just so everybody knows.
That is desperately needed.
Yes.
We received 2 bids for this project. The first one was from Elite Seal LLC. Their description of the project is to spray 2 coats of sealer with sand and additives to meet all state and federal specifications and restripe the parking lot back to the same layout. The cost is $68,946.
That's the one in Williamsburg, is that the one in Williamsburg? Virginia. Was it Virginia?
We also received one from Duraseal. The price to seal coat and stripe areas for everything on top of the hill to stop 25 feet starting down the road, square off on the road, is $58,769.60. They will also have a method for cleaning and prep work on the parking lot with a skid steer attached to a broom bucket, blowers, and gas-powered brooms, and they estimate the job will take 4 to 5 days, weather permitting.
But all of it?
I need a motion to close the bids.
Set motion to close the bids.
Second.
Shepherd,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes.
Mayor, it'd be my recommendation to go for Duracell at $58,769.60.
Make a motion to accept the bid from Duracell. Second.
Moore,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes. All right, next on the agenda is to read the arena basketball court bids.
No bids were received for this project.
So does that mean that I can go with the place that I want to go with?
No, I'm looking into it, I will have to go and rebid it. Can't do it without, anything over $30,000,
I know
keep
how
it
to
out.
do it.
Well, why didn't they put a bid in?
Well, they're in Ohio, I mean,
They didn't
It
say it.
doesn't matter, they can put a bid in.
All right, well, we'll just tell them that we're
Just
gonna.
that I've never had to do this before, so I didn't know that the quotes that I had already got would not be considered, so.
Oh, gotcha.
And
All
I
right.
explained that to you, anything over $30,000
Okay,
has
kids.
to be bid
Oh,
out.
thank
No, I know that, the bid part, but I didn't know that that was.
We'll rebid it, and you can give them a heads up that,
Okay.
to put it in.
Okay.
Closed bid.
Okay.
Mayor, you have to give-
Hang on, do we need to have a motion to close it? Well, no, wait a minute, there's nothing to close. Well, can't she?
I've been-
All right, I'm just asking.
I don't know either.
Okay, all right.
I make a motion to rebid the basketball court bid at the arena.
Second. Reeves? Reeves?
Yes.
Knuckles?
Yes.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes. All right, next on the agenda is to approve an engineer to provide services for the Master Street Sidewalk project.
This is for a request for qualifications, we have 3 submitted. We had GRW, Kentucky Engineering Group, and MSC of Lexington. And my recommendation that we go with GRW.
Does anybody wanna have any discussion on this? Let's get that sidewalk built.
I know they've done a lot of work for city utilities, so. There's no problem.
We still have to bid it out, they will help with that bid and everything, so I recommend GRW.
I make a motion to accept the city manager's recommendation.
Second.
Knuckles?
Yes.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes. Accept the resignation of Code Enforcement Officer Alan Benefield effective 9/10/2021.
Alan turned in a letter of resignation. It's addressed to Mayor Susie Rasmus, City Manager Marlon Sams, and the City Commission. To all concerned, with this letter, I hereby announce my resignation from the position of Building Inspector / Code Enforcement Officer for the City of Corbin, Kentucky, with September 10th, 2021 being my last day of employment. It has been a pleasure working with everyone at the City of Corbin. I wish nothing but the best for the city, its leaders, and citizens. You have my full commitment to ensuring a smooth transition to my departure. Please let me know how I can be of assistance. Sincerely, Lawrence Allen Benfield.
Making a motion to accept the resignation of Alan Benfield. Second.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Knuckles?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes. Discuss restructuring the Building Inspector Code Enforcement Officer position.
I have talked to the mayor and a couple of you, and just brief discussions. In talking with Alan when he came and gave me the resignation, he said more than 90% of his work is code enforcement. 10% of it being the building inspector, and until they get the certification, we're working with the gentleman from Somerset on doing that. It'd be my recommendation that we make code enforcement a full-time position, and let the state continue to do the building inspection.
So is the state doing building inspections on commercial and residential currently?
He is working with us on residential. He goes out and looks at them, tells them what they need to do, setbacks and everything, and then commercial also.
So he's already gotta do the commercial side through the
Yes,
state, right?
yes.
So this would just be the residential?
Yes.
We wouldn't have to pay him anything additional?
No, I talked with him, he agrees on it.
About the same guy we got now, right?
Yes, same one we have a contract with.
And we can actually have somebody that can be out full-time trying to get the city under control, because it's just, we're not headed in the right direction. I was really sad that we're losing yet another code enforcement officer, so I think it's important that we have somebody that is their full-time focus.
Well, I think also it detracts from people applying when they see that they've got to do the building inspection part two and study for a test on top of working full-time and then take the test and pass the test to keep their employment. So I think that
That's been a problem.
that really keeps a lot of people that would be well qualified for code enforcement from applying. So I think it makes sense to have the two separate positions, especially since Wes has been doing this already on the building inspection side of it. We've already approved him, they would pay monthly, so there would be no additional cost on either end, really. So I think it's a good idea.
We do have
You're
some.
proposing to do both, code enforcement?
No, I'm proposing we hire a separate
We hire
person
somebody
in code
separate.
enforcement,
I got you.
and we will have to change that in our job structure too.
Great idea.
Issuing fancy permits and stuff like that, he can still be out there, the code enforcement person to do stuff like that. But anything relating to building, I think we need to be state inspector.
So do we need to, what were you saying that we need to do, get a new job
You need to
description?
authorize him to change the job description for the code enforcement officer and authorize him to take resumes for, or applications for full-time building code enforcement officer.
So we can,
Make that motion that Mr. Hammond just stated.
Second it.
is that okay, Jason? You okay with that, Mom?
I think it's more.
Moore,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Shepherd,
Yes.
Rasmus,
Yes. All right, next on the agenda is hire Jeff Chadwell as full-time Parks and Recreation Director effective 9/7/2021.
Mayor, we met with, Mr. Chadwell a couple of weeks ago, the personnel committee did, my recommendation at the time that the emergency hire, he, due to prior appointment, he could not be here today. He's already started last week and moving and shaking some things, so be my recommendation. Effective this date, or 9/7/2021.
At what salary?
At a salary $40,000.
I will make the motion to hire Jeff Chadwell as full-time Parks and Recreation Director effective 9/7/2021.
Second.
Reeves,
Yes.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Shepherd,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Rasmus,
Yes. All right, next is Resolution 2021-5, a resolution recognizing the month of September 2021 as City Government Month.
You need to read this one.
Resolution 2021-5, whereas civics education is important to ensure Kentucky children develop an interest and understanding of local government and their role in the community, whereas Kentucky academic standards for social studies require instruction on citizenship and local government for entry-level elementary school children, whereas involving and informing students of local government programs and duties can provide an opportunity for entire families to connect with vital city services and programs, whereas there are 416 cities in Kentucky and 55% of the state's population lives in a city, whereas City Government Month is a civics awareness campaign that educates elementary school students about city services by providing teacher lesson plans, students coloring activity books, and classroom materials, whereas City Government Month calls on city officials to get involved in their local schools and in educating and engaging elementary school students in city government, and whereas the KLC Board of Directors has declared September 2021 as City Government Month in Kentucky. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Corbin does hereby designate September 2021 as City Government Month in the city. Be it further resolved that city officials and employees are encouraged to collaborate with local elementary schools to educate students about their city government and to engage them in city services.
All right. We don't need that in, no, okay. All right, next, authorize and approve a refund in the amount of $196 to Kentucky Orthopedic Clinic for Adam Atkins, PA, business license. He had not worked since 2020, and it was paid by mistake.
We'll back up. That was a resolution. Yes, that has to be voted on.
Can I have a motion?
On the resolution previously.
On the resolution recognizing the month of September as City Government Month.
Set motion.
Second.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Shepherd,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Rasmus,
Yes. Approve and authorize refund in the amount of $196 to Kentucky Orthopedic Clinic for Adam Atkins, PA business license. He had not worked since 2020 and it was paid by mistake.
Make a motion to approve the refund. Second.
Shepherd,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Rasmus,
Yes. Ordinance 2021-10, an ordinance fixing the tax rate on motor vehicles for the year 2022, first reading.
Ordinance number 2021-10, an ordinance fixing the tax rate on motor vehicles for the year 2022. Be it ordained by the Board of Commissioners of the City of Corbin, Kentucky as follows, that an ad valorem tax of 24 and 2,300 cents, being the same, is now hereby levied on each $100 worth of taxable value of motor vehicles for the year 2022. Each of the levies is hereby made for the following separate and distinct uses, to wit, that .1551 out of every 24 and 2,300 cents of aforesaid tax is hereby levied for the current expense fund. That .0727 out of every 24 and 2,300 cents of the aforesaid tax is hereby levied for the benefit of the police and fireman pension fund. That .0145 out of every 24 and 2,300 cents of the aforesaid tax is hereby levied for the benefit of the library fund. Each and every aforesaid levy is hereby designated separate, and distinct levy and taxes collected thereunder shall be used for no other purpose than the designated, and in the event any one or more of said levies is held to be unauthorized by law, it shall in no wise affect the other tax levies as provided in this ordinance. All ordinances or other parts of this ordinance in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. First reading, September 20th, 2021. This rate hasn't, it's by law, hasn't been allowed to change since 1983.
All right, I need a motion to approve the ordinance for the tax rate on motor vehicles.
Set motion.
Come on, somebody.
Do we make a motion after the first reading, or do we wait?
So you gotta pass it twice.
Second.
Moore,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Shepherd,
Yes.
Rasmus,
Yes. Next is to discuss property tax rates for 2021.
I've talked to different ones of you. My recommendation, and it's up to you all to vote on it, that we take the substitute rate of 3.321.
So,
You can do that.
I haven't talked to you, but I know that, yeah. But I know that we've talked, some of us behind the scenes and have gone over it. I mean, I think we need to at least give an update of what all of the rates are and our options to choose from.
I brought the paper. So, all right, in 2020, the actual tax rate per $100 of real property tax was .3250. So we could go with three different rates. So one would be the compensating rate for 2021 would be 3.12. That would bring in the exact same amount of money that we got last year. Then there is a substitute rate of .321, which is a little bit less than our current rate, which will give us a little bit of revenue, not a huge amount more. And you would have to look that up for me, but close to the same as last year. But it does decrease it a little bit. The next rate is to allow 4% increase in revenue in real property, and that's .33. That would come up from .3250. That's the max, and that requires a public hearing. How'd I do?
Good. So far, she got something to.
Our compensating rate, based on the calculations from DLG, does not meet the minimum revenue limit, and so our substitute rate of .321 automatically becomes our compensating rate.
That's right.
Anything higher than that requires a hearing.
Correct.
Thank you,
And
Tori.
a potential referendum.
I don't wanna go up. I don't know about you all.
I
but-
Again, I have to go with the substitute rate. It's actually a decrease, it's a slight decrease that I don't think we'll really realize on the books or anything. It's not like we'll lose revenue, but at the same time, it shows people that we're lowering taxes rather than raising taxes, and it will compensate us for the property tax, so.
Also, I believe property values probably went up, I assume, so that also,
Yeah.
so,
I've done tax appeals every week.
I'll make a motion to accept the substitute rate of 0.321%.
second,
Ward,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Shepherd,
yes.
Rasmus.
Yes.
We actually have this ordinance ready to go for the first reading.
You took us, whoever called me. Let's get it going.
Do I need to renumber them? Cause on the agenda I have the KLC bond refinance is number 11, but this one's being read before it.
I don't think we can do it.
Okay.
Ordinance number 2021-12, an ordinance fixing the tax rate levying a tax for the year 2021 for the city of Corbin, Kentucky. Be it ordained by the Board of Commissioners of the city of Corbin, Kentucky as follows, that an ad valorem tax of 32 1/10 cents being the same is now hereby levied on each $100 worth of taxable property, real and mixed, of every kind and description, and that an ad valorem tax of 39 7300 cents being the same is now hereby levied on $100 worth of personal property, tangible and intangible, and the taxable citizens of which in the city of Corbin, Kentucky, for municipal purposes in the cities of home rule class. Each of the levies is hereby made of the following separate and distinct uses, to wit: real property, that's 20.54 cents of every 32 1/10 cents of the aforesaid tax for city purposes is hereby levied to provide a current expense fund for the city of Corbin to pay the general expenses of the city and improvements of its property. That 9.63 cents out of every 32 1/10 cent of the aforesaid tax for city purposes is hereby levied for the benefit of the police and fireman pension fund. That 1.93 cents out of every 32 1/10 cent of the aforesaid tax for city purposes is hereby levied for the benefit of the library fund. Personal property, that 25.43 cents out of every 39 7300 cents of the aforesaid tax for city purposes is hereby levied to provide a current expense fund for the city of Corbin to pay the general expenses of the city and improvements of its property. That 11.92 out of every 39 7300 cents for the aforesaid tax for city purposes is hereby levied for the benefit of the police and fireman pension fund. 2.38 cents out of every 39 7300 cents of the aforesaid tax for the city purposes is hereby levied for the benefit of the library fund. Each and every aforesaid levy is hereby designated to a separate and distinct levy, and the taxes collected thereunder shall be used for no other purposes than the designated, and in the event that any two or more of the said levies is held to be unauthorized by law, it shall in no wise affect the other tax levies as provided in this ordinance. All other ordinances are part of this ordinance and conflict hereby are repealed. First reading, September 20th, 2021.
Motion to approve 2021-12.
Second,
Reeves,
Yes.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Shepherd,
yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes. All right, next on the agenda is ordinance number 2021-11, an ordinance approving a lease for the financing of a project, providing for the payment and security of the lease, creating a sinking fund, and authorizing the execution of various documents related to such lease. First reading.
I create the ordinance and not the summary, right?
That's correct. Sorry.
Ordinance number 2021-11, ordinance approving a lease for the financing of a project, providing for the payment and security of the lease, creating a sinking fund, and authorizing the execution of various documents related to such lease. Whereas the governing body of the city of Corbin, Kentucky, the leasee, has the power pursuant to section 65.940 of the Kentucky Rights Statutes to enter into lease agreements with or without the option to purchase in order to provide for the use of property for public purposes. Whereas the governing body of the leasee, the governing body, as previously determined and hereby further determined that the leasee is in need of the project as defined in the lease hereinafter described, and whereas the governing body has determined and hereby determines that it is in the best interest of the leasee and that the leasee and the Kentucky Bond Corporation, the leaser, enter into a lease agreement, the lease for the leasing by the leasee from the leaser of the project. Now therefore be it ordained by the city of Corbin, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, recitals and authorizations. The leasee hereby approves the lease agreement in substantially the form presented to this governing body. The recitals to this ordinance are incorporated herein as if set forth in this section in their entirety, and are hereby found and determined to be true and correct. It is further found and determined that the project identified in the lease is public property to be used for public purposes. It is necessary and desirable and in the best interest of the leasee to enter this lease for the purposes therein specified in the execution and delivery of the lease, and all representations, certifications, and other matters contained in the closing memorandum with respect to the lease, or as may be required by the leaser prior to the delivery of the lease, are hereby approved, ratified, and confirmed. The mayor and the city clerk of the leasee are hereby authorized to execute the lease together with such other agreements or certifications which may be necessary to accomplish the transactions contemplated by the lease. Section 2, General Obligation Pledge. Pursuant to the Constitution of the Commonwealth and Chapter 66 of the Kentucky Revised Statutes as amended, the General Obligation Statutes, the obligation of the leasee created by the lease shall be the full general obligation of the leasee for prompt payment of the lease payments. The full faith, credit, and revenue of the leasee are hereby pledged. During the period the lease is outstanding, there shall be, and there hereby is levied on all the taxable property in the leasee, in addition to all their taxes without limitation, as to rate, a direct tax annually, an amount sufficient to pay the lease payments on the lease when and as due, is hereby found and determined that the current tax rates are within all applicable limitations. Said tax shall be and is hereby ordered and computed, certified, levied, and expended upon the tax duplicate and collected by the same officers in the same manner and at the same time that the taxes for general purposes for each of the said years are certified, extended, and collected. Said tax shall be placed before and in preference to all other items and for the full amount thereof, provided however that in each year, to the extent that the other taxes of the leasee are available for the payment of the lease payments and are appropriated for such purpose, the amount of such direct tax upon all taxable property in the leasee shall be reduced by the amount of such other taxes so available and appropriated. There is hereby established, or it is acknowledged that there has heretofore been established with the leasee a sinking fund, the sinking fund. The funds derived from said levy tax hereby required or other available taxes shall be placed in the sinking fund, and together with interest collected on the same or irrevocably pledged for the same payment of all obligations issued under the general obligations statutes and all tax supported leases as defined in the general obligation statutes, including the lease herein authorized, wherein as the same fall due. Amounts shall be transferred from the sinking fund to the leaser at times and in the amounts required by the lease. Section 3, severability. If any section, paragraph, or provision of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unenforceable for any reason, the invalidity or unenforceability of such section, paragraph, or provision shall not affect any of the remaining provisions of this ordinance. Section 4, Open Meetings Law. This governing body hereby finds and determines that all formal actions relative to the adoption of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of this governing body, and that all deliberations of this governing body and of its committees, if any, which resulted in formal action, were in open meetings to the public, in full compliance with applicable legal requirements. Section 5, Conflicts. All ordinance resolutions or parts thereof in conflict with this provision of this ordinance are to such extent of such conflict hereby repealed, and provisions of this ordinance shall prevail and be given effect. Section 6, Effective Date. This ordinance shall take effect from and after its passage and publication of the summary thereof. First reading, September 20th, 2021.
What is this? I'm sorry, I'm not getting it.
This is the refinance of our bonds that we have in an effort to save the city money, because you will get a lower interest rate this time. On the balance that you have, you probably have a certain rate, I don't know what that is. Refinance, the guy was here last meeting.
He said he was unable to be at the meeting today, but for the second reading, he will come.
And this is on a bond from 2012, CD we have, for this.
So do we know?
What the rate is, or
They just sell the bonds.
Yeah, we don't.
we'll find out later, right?
It
Okay,
should be higher, but
right,
it depends what happens in Washington next week, or any day.
right. Okay,
Same thing
thank
with
you,
this.
I'm sorry, but I just,
He did mention to me and Scott, I think in emails, that we would save some money if the way he's looking at it. Because
I mean,
of
there's no
the
guarantee.
market right
There's
now.
no guarantee.
Yes, right.
all right, do we need,
Need a motion to approve that ordinance as read. Well, you got to figure first reading.
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance.
I'll second.
Yes.
Shepherd,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes. All right, next memorandum of understanding with Baptist Health Corbin in relation to the hospital's $340 billion drug discount program.
I would assume that everybody has read that, therefore she would not have to read that out loud. All you would have to do is approve the memorandum of understanding. It's assuming everybody's read it and knows what it's about.
Just for indigent care.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion to approve the MOU.
Second.
Shepherd,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes.
Okay, next hire Chris Brown and Jared Carr as full-time police officers.
Mayor, the Personnel Committee met a couple weeks ago, interviewed both of these gentlemen. It was our recommendation that we hire Chris Brown and Jared Carr as full-time policemen.
I object. That is
All right.
mine and the judge's security.
He is also my.
Hurry up, give it a motion, give it a motion.
Object.
I do too.
Everybody wants these guys, they must be good. I'll make a motion.
They're wonderful, yes, I second
Both of
that
them
motion.
gave great interviews.
Yeah, they're good guys.
Great.
If we're gonna lose them from Wheeling County, there's no better place to lose them than to the city of Corbin, so I welcome both of them. I'm sure Chief Hedrick can echo that support. I mean, they're gonna be great additions to the city police force.
Was that a second?
I think Allison already said it.
Oh,
Okay, all right.
That's the third.
I can't vote, but I could
Yep, yep.
vote no.
I'm on your side.
Yes. Reeves,
Yes.
Knuckles.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes, I look forward to having you guys on the force. All right,
I
police,
still want protection, okay?
police department promotions to major, lieutenant, sergeant, and corporal.
I'll call on Chief Hedrick.
I'll try to make this quick. I'd like to take this time to recognize 4 officers here with the Corbin Police Department. Officer Coy Wilson, Jim Miller, Wade Mitchell, and Brad Pruitt. These officers have shown great leadership skills, a great work ethic, and professionalism both on and off duty, needed to further the future of this department. As a reward for their outstanding job performance, I would like to present them with their certification of appointment for their new rank. 2 of the officers couldn't be here this evening. I'd like to present Corporal Wade Mitchell with his new position to Sergeant.
My turn.
Congratulations.
And Lieutenant Coy Wilson to the position of Major.
Congratulations.
And the ranking of major is basically you are the assistant police chief.
Yes, he will be taking on the role that David Maiden had. And Officer Brad Pruitt, he'll go from patrolman to corporal, and Jim Miller will go from sergeant to lieutenant.
Sounds great. Thank you, police department. Okay, so next is tourism board appointments, Barry Mays and Jackie Willis. I'll need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Shepherd,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes.
Hey, Sue.
What?
I've got a question real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
I know that like on the tourism commission, like certain people represent certain, who are these?
I'm
like,
sorry, I should have said that. Which one is?
Barry, is he like a restaurant association?
Barry's
Mayor appointment.
Barry's a mayor appointment, but since he is you know, got a restaurant. I thought he would be a great addition. And then Jackie is the chamber appointment. So that's just a reappointment on that. So they're both 3-year appointments, 2024, I think. Sorry, I should have said that.
All right.
Next set, trick or treat hours for Halloween.
This year, trick or treat falls on Sunday, October 31st. I recommend that for residential trick or treat, we do it on Saturday, October the 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. And then on Friday, the 29th, downtown trick or treat would be from 3:30 to 5:30.
Motion to accept city manager's recommendation for trick or treat hours for Halloween 2021.
I'll second.
Moore,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes. Next is to discuss local speed reduction efforts.
I had a couple of questions about rumble strips and speed bumps. I did do some information checking today. I put it in your all's reports about rumble strips. State.
Have you seen those new things that come out in Cincinnati? They've been using them for a year, it's kinda like, go up.
It's a hump.
It's a hump, but it's a long hump, you know?
Yeah. Kinda like at the hospital?
I ain't been to the hospital, thank God.
I know what you're talking about.
I am looking into it. There is a couple areas in town that needs to be addressed. I have talked to the state highway department. They are looking at some things that they're gonna possibly do on the corner of, 5th and Poplar where you live, or the 4-way behind there.
Yeah,
And
it's
then,
terrible.
but I would recommend we do not put speed bumps up anywhere in town.
Hey,
But I will,
Why don't you look at those up?
I will. Anything we do though, we have to, especially on the state roads, like 5th and 4th, we have to have permission from the state.
I appreciate you looking into that. I saw a study that rumble strips were actually really effective, so we wouldn't even need the speed bumps or the
Yeah,
the humps.
My motorcycle just shakes, about falls apart when I go over. You'll slow down, I'll tell you that. Not you'll buy new shocks and struts.
The speed bumps on the fire trucks and garbage trucks are very detrimental.
Yes.
Very detrimental to them.
Well, we just need to, we need to be, there's just like Marlon said, there's a few areas that we just have reoccurring issues and we've gotta start taking it seriously. We don't have enough police officers to write, there's not enough tickets to be written in the world to solve this problem.
Prosecute them all. I'm just telling you a fact.
So, right, so we gotta come up with some ingenious solutions and,
Make them buy tires and shocks, they'll slow down then.
right. Okay, so,
I will look into it and get back to you all next month's meeting.
all right, that sounds good. City manager's report.
I only have 2 things, recommendation from Public Works that we hired Jacob Beverly as a full-time CDL driver.
Motion to hire Jacob Beverly as a full-time CDL driver with Public Works.
Second?
Reeves,
Yes.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes.
And the other thing is, I got 2 estimates on a heater system for the city pool, if it's gonna be domed over. One of those prices was at $19,444.64, and that's ordered out of a company in Florida. Southeast Pools in London can get those ordered for us. The other one is a lock and bar system out of Louisville Plumbing. It's $29,441.19. Before I can do anything to put that heater system in, I've gotta get with Delta Gas, I'm meeting with Bobby tomorrow. And I also talked with Chuck, Heating and Air. I have no experience, I don't think Jeff and them do either, of putting a pool heater if we all approve it.
How much were those?
One was for 19,444.64. The other
Anything
one,
below 30, right?
right, yeah.
Gotcha.
And I was gonna make the recommendation that if we go with it, we take the one from Southeast Pools. But there's a lot to this before we start the process, so I'd like to get a price on everything before we guarantee that we're gonna put a heater in there.
So should we just table it till next meeting?
I'd like to table it to the next. Well, it's not, no, it's my report. I'd like to be able to look at it within a couple of weeks. Cause I'd also like to work with, Veronica Group and with Jeff Recreation about getting, set schedules for all of this. We have to do some contracts, we have to do some agreements.
Yeah.
Speaking with Bob, and I'd rather, let's do that first before we go and order something.
But I'd like to go ahead and give you permission that if all of these things fall in line between now and next month, that you can go ahead and order it, that we,
Yes.
that you have the blessing of the commission, even though it doesn't have to be by vote, because doesn't have to be bid out. I think we need to take the temperature, so to speak.
No, we would have, I mean, if we're gonna have an agreement with them over something, we wanna see what the agreement is before we are gonna buy something.
I think you need an agreement.
We need all the, I mean, yeah, there's a lot more information we need on how much is it gonna cost and what kind of agreement we're gonna have with.
Yeah, I'd like to know the total cost of it as well.
All right, well, we'll just do a special call meeting.
I was gonna say, given the time constraints, we should do a special call.
And I'm meeting with
I'm
Chuck.
going somewhere, so you'll
Well,
have to
somebody
share.
needs to meet with them to come up with something for me to work with about, when's this gonna happen?
Well, there's a lot of questions about this, I think, you know, but for instance, well, go ahead, you look at your system.
Do we know, like, how much ratio as far as, like, what city funds are gonna be used to what they raised? Because they raised $70,000, is that correct?
I think that just goes towards the dome. The dome's 100,000.
Right, it's 100,000, right? So then we're gonna spend an additional $30,000 on the dome plus the
No.
heater, correct, or is that
No.
not right?
That's not right.
I spoke with Paul last week, or text, he was out of town. They have raised,
I think that $100,000 was an estimate on the dome. So he's got some firmer pricing now on it.
they ordered the dome last week, they paid 36,000 down. They have to pay that balance prior to shipment. Their final should be at 70,000. He says right now they've raised 75,000, that'll be for extra costs for anything on the dome.
So,
They have 50,000.
our citizens have gone out and raised $75,000 for a dome. So, I think that we can spend $20,000 on a heater, but I do understand that we need to get the total cost first, and I respect that, absolutely. But the quicker we can do this, the better, because that's a lot of money, and they did that for the swim season this year. They do not have anywhere to swim at UC or Union, unable to swim, and they're actually practicing right now.
Well, there's a lot more cost. First of all, who owns okay, they buy the dome. We put the dome over, who owns the dome?
We'll have to do that, that's why you need an agreement, we'll have.
So we'll take control of the dome, the city, or they're gonna give it to us?
What else would they do with it?
Okay.
I mean, that's all needs to be laid out in an agreement,
Yeah.
scheduling, when it's gonna happen, and
Yes.
I think there's a lot of
Who's
other
gonna take
expenses
the
too,
law?
like when Marlon, I was asking Marlon about this with keeping the pool open out of season, you know, with chemicals and maintenance and things. I mean, there's,
Right.
whatever agreement we come up with, I think that it should be, structured to where they, this is for the piranhas, which is,
I
so
think
they should
that's
pay for it.
important.
That's what I think. They should pay for it because they're the ones that are gonna be using it. Do what?
I think it's important, that's why we all attend every meeting, so we know this going into it, because last time we approved the solar blanket for them, and we discussed a lot of this. I think that sooner we can do it better.
And I agree with Allison on this. I think that given the supply chain issues that are going on in the world right now, I think that if they've gone out and raised $75,000, that we need to get these numbers, get this agreement as quickly as possible, and get this turned around.
So just to,
Well, let me, before you all keep on going here, I'll quote the numbers. I haven't finished talking, with the text he had sent me. They have 50,000 committed, and they're looking to raise by mid-October 75,000, so they've got the money there, but they're just looking for the commitments to get that 75,000 total.
So when will the dome be in and be ready to be installed?
It is ordered, it's probably another, couple weeks, 3 weeks, I don't know,
We
didn't talk to Paul.
So the dome is how much, 75?
They've raised 50,000, their goal is 75,000, they had to pay 36,000 down.
So they don't have enough to pay for the dome?
Yeah.
So 36,000.
They have, when the shipment comes, you're gonna look at probably, like I said, 3 to 4, 5, 6 weeks before this gets in.
We've not committed to them to pay for any of the dome. That's their commitment. So we're just looking for a commitment from the Board of Commissioners to go forward with getting the heater ordered to where we can get it put in to where, when the dome does get delivered, that they're gonna be able to keep swimming.
I understand that they are in the bind. I get that. It's not an emergency for the city of Corbin. I think we need to do it the right way. It's just not. It's not like we've got a road collapsed or something. It's just that, you know, it's a thing I think we need to do the right way, and I don't know why it's such a big hurry. I really don't.
Well, fall is upon us. Have you ever been in a pool?
Yes, I've
In
been
the
in a
fall?
pool, Mayor. I just think we didn't do it the right way.
We are gonna do it the right way. We are gonna do it the right way.
I'm not
All right,
rushing.
that's,
So what's the ratio of public usage with the group?
whatever you all whatever you all will agree to. I mean, you know, obviously they're gonna wanna swim, but they'll probably wanna swim right after school, which would be like 4 to 6 or something like that. They can't be in the pool nonstop.
We didn't even discuss all of this.
Do what?
So this was all discussed at the last meeting.
Allison, I am sorry that I missed the last meeting. I mean, what more do you want me to say? I've
Well,
missed
Brandon
like-
was here.
Like,
You were here,
two
Brandon.
meetings in like 5 years, you know, or 3. I'm sorry I missed the last
All
meeting.
right, we're moving forward. We're moving forward. We'll just call a special called meeting. Marlon, you just get the word.
Right now. What's wrong with that?
Marlon, you just keep working on the numbers and then we'll call a special called meeting, okay?
Is that good? Everybody good with that, right?
I did talk to Bob last week, and that's what I said, we've gotta do some sitting down with contracts, everything.
I just need to determine
Yes.
what the agreement is. I don't care, I'll put it to work.
Really, after just thinking about everything, my only concern really was just, like, if we're using public funds, what's the public benefit going to be in regard to, like, is there gonna be more of or is the private group gonna benefit more from the use of the public funds? Or is it gonna outweigh the ratio of the public? The
It's
city
a
residents?
heater for our pool. So the heater can be on in the spring when we first open the pool to where people aren't absolutely frozen to death when they first get in it. Because that pool opens up Memorial Day and it is freezing cold. For like a solid month, it's freezing cold. So there is a benefit to our community, even if this agreement doesn't allow the public to have complete access to it all winter long. But I do think it's a good idea to have the pool open in the winter, in maybe Saturdays or evenings. It just depends upon demand.
So the public, we could make it like to where the public could rent it out potentially, I guess, because we did talk
Yes,
about that.
birthday parties, yes, all of that stuff.
Parks and Recreation.
Where did Seth go? Is he gone?
We need to get these numbers put together as quickly as possible. I've said that since last month, I've said that. Marlon, we need to get these numbers put together as quickly as possible. We need an agreement put together as quickly as possible, and we need to get moving on this. And then we'll put it to a vote and put it to rest. Now, do you have anything else, Marlon?
No, I'm good.
Maggie?
Okay.
Maggie, would you like to give a report?
I'm like, hey, I've got all kinds of great stuff.
Good, glad.
Lots of good, warm, fuzzy, feel-good stuff, and I'll be quick about it. The only thing I'm not feeling so great about is that the end of the summer is arriving, and so the last farmers market of the year will be September 28th. The last Depot Street market of the year will be October 2nd. But in celebration of Halloween month, the Tourism Commission is showing our movie in the park October 2nd, that evening, which is free and family friendly, and we're showing Hocus Pocus. So people love that movie, and I know they're gonna come out and have a great time. So we're gearing up for that. Great news about the Colonel Sanders Half Marathon. As of today, we're at 148 registered. We've got 107 for the half and 41 for the 10K, and 65% are from out of the area. So we'll have, even Lexingtonians are gonna wanna spend the night in the hotel because they don't wanna have to be at the race at 8:30 to do 13.1 miles without good rest. So, I think that event, you know, and our committee is just so great, and everybody's been working really hard on promoting that event. So, and that is November 13th this year. We are 3 weeks away from SOAR. Hard to believe the SOAR Summit is, you know, right here. As of today, we were at 735 people registered. So you can imagine the economic impact that will bring to the city. We have 80 booths confirmed for the exhibit hall. 8 finalists for the pitch competition. 21 businesses, entrepreneurs applied. They narrowed it down to 8 for the pitch competition the Tuesday night before. But the city's big event for the summit, of course, will be the reception. And that will be the evening of October 13th. We will shut Main Street, put tables and chairs, we'll have cash bar, we'll have live entertainment and hors d'oeuvres. All of the restaurants and entertainment facilities will be open late that night so that people will go into the restaurants, have full-on meals and drinks, and throw axes, play pinball, arcade games. So we have the potential to have about 700 people in downtown Corbin, which we will be transporting them with charter buses and trolleys that we have reserved. So that will be a great event. But what I need from you all is permission to close Main Street on October 13th from 4th to Gordon Hill, so that we can accommodate all the tables and chairs and band. So I just wanted to.
I think that's gonna be fabulous.
It will be, I promise.
All right, do we need to do that in a motion or just, okay, motion?
I make a motion, towards that recommendation.
I'll second. Yeah.
Knuckles?
Yes.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And then Oktoberfest is scheduled for October 9th from 10 to 7. I think it's important to switch up your events. I think it's important to add things and make them grow. So we have 30 vendors registered, and it's typically been a vendor event in the past. However, this year we're adding hay rides for families and the kids. We'll have an outdoor DJ, as well as a killer cornhole competition with 80% payback, and probably a gift certificate from Old Town Girls since they're sponsoring. But again, in order for me to pull this off, what I'd like to do, and again, we're trying to be safe and social distance, so I'd like to take the event from Nibrock Park down Main to Sanders and the lot across from Sanders Park. So I would like to seek permission to close Main on the 9th from 2nd to Gordon Hill. 2nd Street to Gordon Hill, to put my booths in the middle of the road and to be able to distance them so that people can feel safe.
So we do need that in a motion.
Make a motion to close Main for Oktoberfest on October 9th.
Second.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Knuckles?
Yes.
Rasmus?
Yes.
All right, and then I have every intention by the time the SOAR Summit arrives that our Sidewalk Etching program will be complete so that people can rave about how cool Corbin is, because we have a walk of fame, so to speak. So that's heavily underway. Egg Fest was a tremendous success. Can't believe it was the 7th year. big thanks to Corbin Public Works as well as the Corbin Parks and Recreation Department for all of their help in helping us to set that event up. It was a great day, beautiful weather. And then finally, I'm happy to report that there are 2 new Main Street businesses that opened this month. You've got Ever Aston, which is a ladies boutique, super cute clothing. Young female entrepreneur, which is always a really great sign, I think. So she is located right before the educational building on Main Street on the right-hand side where, Mr. Brown, the lawyer.
Mr. Ledford's,
Yeah.
wasn't he there?
He was
Appalachian
there.
Wildlife.
In that little strip, so we're excited about that. And then American Business Systems, right across from City Hall, which does, they sell photocopiers and do photocopier and fax repairs, so. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Maggie.
No problem.
Bruce, do you have anything you need to talk about? No, you're good. Does anybody, any of the department heads have anything that they wanna bring up? And probably not after this meeting. Everybody's like, no, thank you. We're gonna all creep away. All right, then, if we don't have anything else,
I had some.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a company in California that contacted me, and they're called Bird, and it's essentially a company with scooter transportation, and so they emailed me, and we ended up talking on the phone and everything. There's an operating agreement that they would need to have with the city, but it's very lenient. It would be basically on what our terms would be and how it would be enforced and policed. There's no cost to us, and in fact, they give us 15 cents per ride. So it goes to more bicycle lanes and maintenance of that, or any sort of transportation issue. So they will give us quarterly 15% payouts per ride. It's going to be quarterly payments. So every quarter they'll give us those payments. So essentially they're just wanting, which I will give you all and email you all a copy of the agreement, and it's a doc, so it can easily be whatever terms we have. But they just want to get the green light because they would like to operate here. And from my understanding, like an electric scooter.
Like that kind of downtown Louisville.
Well, it's not a Harley Davidson, right?
No.
Or pigeon forward.
But on average though, the cost of a ride is like $5. So normally it said that the average person will spend $5 per ride, and they'll give us 15 cents per ride.
They carry the passenger on it, or the passenger
No,
drives it
no,
themselves?
they, you know, it's like these little, you put your credit card in and you
The
take
razor
off and you.
scooters.
And so there's an app that you can book that stuff on. That's how that would work. And they would want they're going to hire somebody that would be over the program. So they would actually hire somebody that would maintain and store the units. And then in wintertime, they take them to another facility he said hibernate. And then in the 1st of March, that's when they would bring them back out. So really the season is really from March until late November probably, or early November, depending on. But I'm just going to stay in contact with him, and I will get you all that agreement and give it to you as well.
Make sure they got insurance and they'll indemnify us, okay?
Yeah.
One thing I noticed, they had these in Indianapolis when I was up there, and they are kind of neat for a big city. But also I saw them laying all over the place. They have to go collect them. If it's the ones I'm thinking of, you have to have somebody go out and collect them, because they have to be recharged and whatever, and I saw them at like.
I just said Saturday after the ballgame, walking back to the
Yeah,
car,
I saw them.
chucked in the grass everywhere.
They were just all over the place, and, I mean, like in medians, and like when you get ready to get on the interstate, and just laying all over, I don't know, but.
Yeah, apparently there's an assortment of different companies, and in their agreement, they don't want their stuff laying around everywhere like that. And we're not talking about a lot of units probably. We're talking about just a few probably. I mean, nothing like 50 or 100, nothing like that at all. Probably just who knows, maybe even under 10. So.
I think people would here.
I mean, if they're coming to downtown Corbin, like I think it would be cool for a visitor to be able to travel around downtown Corbin to different places. I mean, we got a charging station for Tesla ports, so I mean, this is no cost to us.
it's no cost to us, but what worries me is that somebody like is gonna get one of those and try to take it out to the movie theater or El Dorado or, you know, someplace like that. And the next thing you know, they're out on Cumberland Falls Highway and we've got a real safety issue. I mean, it sounds cool in theory. I just am not sure. I'm just not sure about it. I'll just be honest with you.
Yeah, and on the app, it shows apparently, designated areas where they can be. And so I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it will like stop working if it gets out of the designated area.
Okay, well, that takes that fear away then.
Yeah, I'd like to learn more about the company.
Yeah, it was really neat that he reached out. I think he's reached out to the city of London as well. And they seem pretty interested in doing this as well. So, yeah, that's all I got about that.
DUIs on the scooter.
Yeah, I like the idea too, of maybe just a low number at first and kind of see, you know, whether it would work, but anyway, something to look into.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it'd be cool to keep them, like Trent just said, keep them downtown, and it would be an easy, way for people to see the sites as far as in downtown Corbin and stuff, and KFC, maybe, I don't know.
Let's drive up there.
All right.
All right, does anybody else have anything? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
I make a motion, we adjourn. Or second, whichever.
Moore,
Yes.
Knuckles,
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Rasmus.
Yes.